Back straight? Okay. Welcome. Namaste. Yeah. We've had a big snowfall, so the roads are really bad today, but here we are still. Committed seekers always find their way. Today we're going to talk about something very interesting and really relevant. It's about, in these new times in the world today, how do we create the best life possible? What do we do to make our life effortless, easy, smart, brilliant, and harmonious? So we come to one realization that all of us have been seeking, and we've been looking for ways. We've been looking for better ways, good ways, right ways. We've been wanting ways that'll take us out of something where we feel we've been locked into or caged or just basically caught or trapped. And then we've been looking into ways that'll give us more freedom, give us more liberty. So as much as we want things in our life, one thing that we all want is freedom, to create the way we want to live, to create the life that we want to experience. And that seems to have been really, really hard because there's so many ways and thousands of techniques and 5,000 years of conscious evolution for human beings. And we still are looking for the fastest and the best ways. So that brings us to 2017 and the realizations for this day, like now, this time. Myself, I've been seeking for easier life. It can't be so hard. We have to find ways, I believed, to get out of the pain and suffering. Only then we can start to create with freedom. Because if we're trapped in some kind of emotional stress or trauma, it's impossible to create the life you want. So how do we release that? And how do we access this higher knowledge? How do we connect to the other dimensions? So more than ever, today it's become really possible. And the techniques are really, really simple too. They're not long-drawn techniques, practices, whether it be spiritual, mental, or emotional practices. It's just become easy. So as I seek myself, I come into realization that we have a built-in system. All human beings have a built-in system, a brilliant system, mechanism, one may say, that's into our bodies. Our human body contains a system. And in this system, we can create what we want. We are awakened to the world outside, but we also can be fully restful and at peace while we are pursuing our desires and dreams on this planet. So going further, seeking deeper and deeper, experimenting, it was really obvious that it has to be through breathing. The technique is in the breathing itself. Now we know that through yoga, we know that through pranayama, that inhale, exhale, and all of that. We know that. We know the system, why it is so important. When we inhale, we breathe in oxygen. When we exhale, we breathe out the carbon dioxide from the lungs. So that keeps our nervous system strong and the body strong. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about another way, another technique or another perspective to look at the exhale. From my own experimentation, I find that when I'm inhaling, and some people actually, when they inhale, they push the belly out. You can try it right now. Some people push it out, some people pull it in. Most of the people pull it in. But somehow I've always been, for me, it's always been pushing out the belly on inhale, and exhale, you pull. I just seem to pull it in. But it could work either way. But the breath goes down to the belly. Now, when we are inhaling, we take in everything through our senses. So we take in the world, we see the world, we feel the world, we feel the dynamics, we are totally present to the world. So this means we are present to our pain, we are present to our all situations, whatever is happening to us. We feel it at the fullest level when you're inhaling. And you can experiment that. It's really interesting. So you're experiencing everything that's in the world on your inhale. But interestingly, when you breathe out, when you exhale, and if you're conscious, especially conscious of the exhale, you will find you're not able to think. It's just breath going out. It's just letting out. So what happens is, it's very interesting. We don't realize this, the power of exhale, till we've experimented with it. So when we're breathing out, and we're breathing again through the belly, we're pushing the belly in or out, whichever way is possible for you. At that time, we notice that there's a silence, there's a stillness. Now, most of the people are used to taking in stuff, inhaling, right? And a lot of people have short breaths. That's because they need to inhale more oxygen. Now, why do they need to inhale that much more oxygen? Because they're not able to expel the carbon dioxide. So the lungs still have some carbon dioxide. And as long as you've not exhaled the whole thing, the entire carbon dioxide from the lungs, you will not be able to have a proper inhale. So people actually have short breathing. You'll find that, and also you find in your mind, your emotions, your feelings can be altered just by breath. We've noticed that. Take a deep breath, But then most of the people are trying to take in the world, absorb the world. So they have a very eager inhale. But when it comes to exhale, the exhale is not so conscious. So just try it for yourself and see. So don't try too hard. You're just going to inhale the breath and then keep the mouth closed. Do it through the nostrils, gently through the nostrils. Very light breathing. So you'll fall into it in a moment. Maybe it takes a moment. But do it tender and gently and push the belly or push it in. Whatever's your way. So just notice how active, alert you are when you're inhaling the breath and how quiet it becomes when you're just exhaling. You may have a little trouble or stress when you're exhaling if you're not used to exhaling nicely and deeply. But it's okay. Within a minute, it'll silence. So let's try this. So nostril breathing, gently, lightly, no stress at all. You notice that the mind does not stop. It does not cease the thinking when you're inhaling. Whether you do it with eyes closed or open, irrelevant. You're still thinking when you're inhaling. But as you start to focus on the exhale, you notice that you may not be able to think. The speed has changed of the thinking, the thoughts. You may try to think, but you may not be naturally thinking. And if the exhale is jerky or short, then just let it go. Just let it flow, and you'll become part of the rhythm. So when you're breathing in, you're almost inhaling the world. You're part of the world, yet you feel separate from the world. You're one part of the world. But notice now, when you are exhaling, you don't have that thought or separation. It's almost like you become the world. You may look for the world, but you may not find it because there's no thinking or thought. And the more you connect to the flow of the exhale, there's absolute stillness. There's a peacefulness. We won't focus so much on the inhale now. We will just focus on the exhale. When you focus on the exhale, automatically you're going to inhale in the flow. You'll just become part of the flow. So just keep your focus on the exhale. And notice how quickly you've reached the still point. Okay, you can open your eyes. So just experiment, short one. So could you see the difference between the inhale and the exhale? So what happened to our world? Now, when you are inhaling, you're fully aware of the feelings, of what's going on, whether you are tense, you cannot drop the anxiety. You cannot drop the mind when you're inhaling. But the mind does not exist that way as it did in the inhale when you're exhaling. There's nothing to drop because there's nothing there. So for myself, I've been seeking spirituality, spiritual awareness, enlightenment all my life. And always wanted to come, always realized there's got to be the easy way. It doesn't matter whether it's a Buddhist way or Hindu way or Christian way. There's got to be an easy way for humans to just live fully without practices trying to live, right? And in the last 20 years, we've just spent so much time focusing on trying to be better, trying through meditation to give up the stress or to achieve what we want. And trying to achieve gives us extreme, makes us really tense. Because it just, our system starts to get into a rush. And we've had more blood pressure, we've had more anxiety, because as we come into now, if you're not exhaling properly, if we're not breathing properly, then we have carbon dioxide in our lungs, and our nervous system will get compromised. When the nervous system gets compromised, our other systems start to feel the effect. So digestive system could go first, allergies, you can't absorb food, you can't absorb a lot of food you were absorbing before, many other things, a lot of allergens in the system. Now, something that Buddha said was very interesting, and which was that meditation is not about stress release. It is about connecting to who you are, remembering who you are. So remembering who we are is not my just past lives. It's not my past parents. It's not my age when I was 14. It's not when I was 13. It's not, I don't think he meant that, remembering that. I think he also meant that there is a collective consciousness. You are connected to the entire universe, the entire mind space. So whether we believe in guides, whether we believe in masters, whether we believe in angels, whether we believe in divine consciousness or gods, it doesn't matter what it is. There's a lot of intelligence beyond us that's in space, in the collective space. Like billions of people have gone through this planet. And I'm only talking about our Earth planet. There's so many other planets, galaxies, and universes that we access our intelligence from. You've heard the saying, out of this world, Where did that come from? All of a sudden, an idea comes, boom, nobody on the Earth planet had thought about it before. So there's got to be intelligence that exists. It's not just personal intelligence. It could be from other galaxies, from other universes, from another alien force. It could be anything at all. So what does it mean? Now, we are not tapping into something outside of us. So when we say that there is the world outside, there's the galaxies out there, that means we're all part of it. We're the same properties. We're made up of the same stuff. So we are accessing our own higher self, whether it is 10,000 miles away, or it could be on any other planet, or it is close to us. And this is remembering who we are and remembering that knowledge. So Buddha says that don't waste time trying to be a master when you can, maybe you already are a master. So remember who you are. So, but we didn't understand his words. We didn't understand what Christ meant when he said, I'm the way. We only understand it as to our evolution, from where we've been, from where we can see it, right? Coming back to this exhale, it's very interesting. You've heard another term, which a lot of mystics and sages have used, that if you want to be enlightened, if you want to access the higher dimension, then die to your own self. They didn't mean go commit suicide or kill yourself, destroy yourself. They just said destroy the ego. So a lot of people said destroying the ego is what they meant. Destroying the mind, that is separate mind, is what they meant, right? Die unto yourself so you can live with fullness. Now, when you're doing your inhale and exhale, you will notice when you are inhaling, you're fully alive to the world. But when you are exhaling, that world has died somewhere. So we can experience death. And how many people are curious about dying and death? So many. We fear death. But if we were to do a conscious exhale, we will realize that inhale, we come alive, and then exhale, we die. We go into the resting consciousness. So one is the active consciousness, where we are creating all senses alive. I can see, I can feel, I can do, I can be. But here, it is just a death to all of that I. It's just the flow. So it's really miraculous and really powerful if you can experience death of your own mind, the small mind, every exhale. You're always balanced and you're always fresh. And now what happens is, because you're not carrying the world of the ego or through the I, that personal I, you can comprehend, you can understand a lot better. Because half the time when you breathe, you're breathing all the time, half the time you're in the state of stillness, which is the death state, samadhi state. We can call it the samadhi state. It's the stillest point of consciousness, where everything is accessible. What did Christ say again? Be still and know your God. In the world of stillness, at the highest point of stillness, we are able to access the heavenly or the divine consciousness and the knowledge that exists out there, which is in us, but we can't access it, we can't see it, we can't remember it, we can't experience it, right? So this is a very interesting point to me about dying to the mind, dying to the self. And we are automatically doing that all the time. And this is the system of breathing that keeps us alive. How smart. So human beings, yes, of course, they're the most innovative. If we believe we created ourselves, we are really amazing, innovators. If we believe God created, he did an excellent or she did an excellent job too. Because there's a built-in system for you always to be at peace, always to be in harmony, and always be one with the whole universe. So there's this separation. The I rises up beautifully, and then the I dies into not just the we, it just dies at the mental level, emotional level. Again, experimenting a lot with this, we realize that your world doesn't become small if you start to focus on the exhale. Rather, it gets very large. And all of a sudden, there's depth to you. There's meaning to you. You feel meaningful, not because you got something, not because you learned knowledge, not because you got more information, but there is meaning because you start to breathe and live fully. It's really got to be tried. It's not intellectual exercise. It is just got to be experienced. So if you do it for a week, if you do it for one day, you will say, or 2 days, what is happening to my dream states? What is happening? Something has shifted in me. Something has changed in me, right? Because there's a settlement. You've settled in your being. You're not just up jumping into the mind up and down and then trying to settle. So it's not a sleeping state. It's an awake state, but it's a resting consciousness where you've become the world. You're not just one with the world, you've become the world. You can't think of the world, so you are the world. But you can only think of something when you're not part of it. You're looking at something else. So I want to be one with that. I want to be at peace. That means peace is not in you. It is still out there. You want it, right? But when you can't think of anything, and this wholesomeness and this restfulness in this day and age, when we have so much chaos, what is the easiest way to come to our stillest point? Again, as Gandhi said, when we change ourselves, the world will change. We will not change it. We will not change the world. The world will change as we change ourselves. So it doesn't matter which leader, Nelson Mandela, it doesn't matter. They have followed this, that when they create the restfulness state within, they're able to do something very large, something that they have this deep yearning for. We say that there are 2 days that you must remember. One is the day of your birth, because that is the day you chose. All these circumstances, these parents, this life, all your situations. And the second day is when you find out why you were born. What was your purpose? And the rest doesn't matter. The rest of the days don't matter, because if you remember these, then you're guided and fully one with yourself, your own soul. 2017, I've talked about in my other conversations too, we have almost a new soul chemistry. We've embodied certain energy fields. Scientists are trying to get there, trying to see through quantum physics, quantum theories, quantum mechanics, that quantum entanglement, that the entire world is entangled. How do we in this embody the highest state possible? So they're trying to marry spirituality to science. But this marriage has consummated a long time ago, and we're living proof. We can't survive. Our entire being it's not a mystic being. It's scientific. Our whole chemistry, what keeps us alive. So we are not into some new knowledge, but we are starting to prove through science little bit at a time That just validates that what we were thinking was right, right? We were not foofy, we were not out there. So coming back to the exhale, I think I believe it is so powerful that if you would try it, you would notice for yourself how your world has shifted. Now, what else would we need? Do we still need to try? I would say that no. For 1 week, whatever time you want to give yourself, don't try to do too much. Only try to focus on the exhale and see how your performance is. Just see what is coming out of you. What kind of thoughts are coming? What kind of restfulness, feelings are coming? You're not disturbed. We may have achieved the states we wanted to, optimum, alert, awake, restful state, peaceful state, just by the focus on exhale. Because this is just science. It's the inner science. It's the science of nature. It is when you're exhaling, the mind stops. Does it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense to me. I've always noticed with meditation, I didn't want to breathe in because when I was exhaling, that's when I could connect best. So, the only thing is, though, I know that your ego its life depends on that we don't find that rest, right? So it's really, really fighting hard for us not to get there. So, I mean, that's the whole problem, I think.
We wouldn't, we wouldn't have to worry about the ego here, because when we are inhaling, our world is alive. You can only experience it through yourself, through your personal senses. You're seeing, then you are interpreting, you're understanding, you're comprehending, you're feeling, you're alive. So that has a place. The I has a place, your personal I has a place. But when you're exhaling, within seconds, right, all of a sudden, that does not exist. But you're not making it go away. That was built into our system. That was probably just a secret. And we were looking, you know how it is? We're always, whatever we are searching for, we first start to search it outside us. It has to be farthest away. If it is far, it's better. That means we're working hard at it, right? We are putting effort into it. We don't look under the nose. We never look under the nose. We always search for it outside. But in 2017, we've got a new human energy in place. We'll have almost like a new human being, a new world. There's a whole new soul science in place. We are now there. We all have the same knowledge. We all have the same. We can understand very similarly to each other. The whole system has shifted, right? So just exhaling and being at the most restful state, we are able to access what was outside us. And everybody will do it, not just us. Because I'll tell you something, I don't think that we will be going into spiritual practices like we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 200 years ago, like the Buddha did and the other people. I don't think that is needed. The human being is the smartest species. If it can't experience its own enlightenment, there's something wrong at will. Why should you have to work on something that already exists within your system? Maybe we were chasing a concept of what enlightenment should look like, right? But I think the meaning and the definition of consciousness or even enlightenment has shifted. And today we need to be awake to this. We need to be restful. We can't create peace upon our planet because already look at the chaos we're in.
But that's what my question is. He said everybody will do that. Everybody will. But like would the Trump do that? Like ISIL? Are they not like the ego of the whole system?
Yes. Through people like Trump, we are seeing that how many people are rising, saying no to that, which has never been before. So the people power is coming in. People, and through media, we've seen within days or within a day or hours, we can get our word across. We've already seen quite a few phenomena like that. Whether it was the Me Too movement, it doesn't matter what. It just has to hit and it gets viral and it's out there so quickly. So it'll be the people who will call. And when the shift comes, it'll again be the people. All of a sudden, they'll start to talk about it. Before you know, the energy goes viral, the information goes viral, and these frequencies go viral.
I noticed that actually a lot. With lots of people.
Yeah.
It's just I still try to connect that with. Did you not say that there's some kind of a disaster coming up, or like with Trump with his nuclear stuff, or that thing's still bothering me. But mind-boggling is that. I say good and bad. I know you don't think it that way, but
yeah.
I don't know how that works with nuclear war and then peace and everybody's. I don't know.
We've been looking for peace on this planet forever.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever a time when we haven't looked for peace. So the fact that peace is a goal, that means that we don't have it. And when did we last have it? Because all the leaders, all the mystics, everybody is looking for peace. 3,500 years ago, Buddha was looking for peace. So we've never been probably at peace. And is it possible that when we talk about peace, we are looking for that oneness state, harmonious state, where we can get along with each other, understand each other? They're very smart people now. Look at the young generation of kids also. How smart they are.
I guess though, what I feel like I'm hearing also, and I feel it a little bit too, is that we've also never been able to destroy ourselves as much as we can now. Like we have the ability to remove ourselves from the planet on a large scale. So, peace feels more important.
Yes.
Because the destruction can be so total.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just now one country can do that. Like the war will never just be over there, if it goes nuclear, right?
Yeah.
Or and there's that fear that spreads as fast as a movement.
Yes, it is, and we're already seeing also through climate change. Look at what's happening to the world. So certain parts of the world.
So it feels like it's coming at you from so many.
And then viral diseases, everything that's airborne. So that could hit at a different level. So we are really smart, but also we have created dangers. There's many dangers. At a push or press of a button, we can damage a lot of things. Even people power can damage. Sometimes, have you noticed now that people are getting stronger and stronger? So it's not just one politician. So another 10 years, imagine the people power. But what if the people at some point make wrong decisions? They become the judge and jury these days. They're not even waiting for things to go to court. We are actually now just judging, condemning, or elevating or bringing them down, just the collective consciousness of the people. This also it has a side effect.
I guess that's why the peace does feel like a goal now.
Yes.
Because the world feels so chaotic.
It's so chaotic. Peace is the goal, also enlightenment.
So why is it so chaotic though? If on one thing our soul is changing and lots of people are awakened, I noticed that. But then the chaos is so much worse now. So how does that work with the soul changing?
People change because of the chaos. People actually change because of personal pain.
So that's what
Yes.
job is then?
Yes.
Actually, the whole chaos is to awaken
Yes.
people.
So the chaos is awakening more and more people now. So the bigger the storm, the bigger you'll be alert and you will be watching. So this is just the phenomena. After the storm, there's stillness. We're still in the storm, one may say. So you'll notice more and more people awakening now. And the methods have become, like I mentioned, it has to be really simple. We need to be enlightened, as you said. It is a necessity. It's not optional. It's not a luxury. For our survival, more than peace, it is important to be aware and at your highest optimum level of smartness and brilliance, so you can think clearly. Right? It is so important because when the people power comes in the masses, it is really dangerous if you've got some dumb people starting movements. Because you could have a whole group just following blindly a movement, not examining, not realizing the outcome of that. So we need to be enlightened. If enlightenment was a must then, here it's do or die. You will not be able to survive to the fullest of your potential if you are not enlightened. And enlightenment just means, where is that switch in my brain? We were looking into the brain, we were looking into the heart, we were looking everywhere for the switch. That if I could just flip the switch, if I could just turn on the lights and experience my enlightenment, right? Who has the time? People can't even sleep at night. They don't even rest properly. They don't breathe properly. They don't eat properly. Because they're so stressed. So in this day and age, what happens? Everything becomes easy. It has to be provided. There's nothing more easy than breathing. To keep alive, you have to be breathing. So any given time, when we go into, just focus on the exhale and we'll see what happens. It's got to be tried. It's got to be tested. But this is the key to a peaceful society and enlightened being. Yeah. So should we go into the meditation? We will do very silent, we'll do a little mix of meditations, techniques, and we'll come to the highest, the stillest point of our being. Okay, so back straight, shoulders back, nice smile on your faces. Great. So just take a nice deep breath and exhale. Notice the belly. Keep your focus on the belly. Just notice during the inhale, is the belly pushing out or pulling in? Whichever way you want to breathe, it's absolutely fine, but just become aware. Mouth is closed. We'll breathe noiselessly, lightly through the nose. Very light breathing. We'll focus on the exhale. And you can experience when you're inhaling, you're fully alive to the world. When you're exhaling, the world has disappeared because you have become the world. So do it with a lot of enjoyment, curiosity. You will notice the body becoming lighter as you fall into the rhythm, in the flow. You are enjoying your inner and outer worlds. You're fully awake, alert, but at your quietest moment, the stillest point, and the stillness keeps increasing. Intermittently, you will experience your state of samadhi, where you are awake in the world, also the world. This is also the state of doing and not doing, as per the Zen masters. In this effortless state, action is fully with ease. You are breathing, but also breathing is happening through you, in you. You're not just the doer of breath. The more you exhale or focus on exhale, the more you will notice that when you're inhaling, your world is a bit more compassionate. Your inhale, or how you're experiencing the world, is more gentler, kinder, softer, and more compassionate. Notice the difference in your being, your body, the lightness in the mind. The watching becomes addictive because you're at peace. You're fully awake, you're fully alert, you're totally restful, rested, still. Nobody can shake you off your grounding, push you into anxiety or stress, rob you of your peace and mental quiet. Because you have found your place of peace. If you want any time, you can open your eyes and you will still experience this restful state. This is the resting consciousness. This is how you go to sleep at night. And whenever during the day you're aware, focus on the exhale. Dying unto yourself, being still. Is this state. So how is it? Okay. We didn't do mantras, we didn't do prayers. We simply went into ourselves and simply used our mind, our focus, to watch the exhale. That's all we did.
It was good. I was thinking, or I would say I had thoughts, but there was nothing to them. It was like TV on mute or something. Like there was no connection to it. So I wasn't blank.
Yes.
But I wasn't hooked onto anything at all, and I didn't follow a thought at all. And there was no emotional reaction to anything I was thinking. But it was just like watching a series of images. That's how my thoughts felt tonight.
So the world was going on.
Yeah.
The thoughts were going on, the images were going on. Yeah. Everything was going on. You're in the operative state, but you are at your stillest point, and you are not feeling the compulsion to attach yourself to thinking.
Yes,
Did you notice that?
That's exactly.
There's no addiction to thinking or wanting to know more when you're in focusing on the exhale. You're just resting. That greed for more, the greed to see, the greed to know more, see more, be more, it's not there. The world is operating, but you don't have that addictiveness. All of a sudden, that shifted. There was no need. Yeah.
That's exactly how it was.
Yes, because in the meditation, otherwise, you have this big greed to look at what's happening. Now you're trying not to see that because you need to meditate, you need to be quiet. The more you need to be quiet, the more active the mind becomes, right? But this with the exhale, it's just that you just don't get engaged because the rest is so deep and the intelligence and the wisdom is so deep that you don't get attached or attracted to anything. And then in your active state, you can perform lot more quality because you've rested so well, you're rested. So you're deriving, you're pulling information and wisdom and intelligence from much deeper sources within yourself and out there. Yeah. And right now, the nice part is we have so many channels of information right now that weren't there before. So we have a lot more levels of intelligence, and we can actually access all those words just being at the stillest point. So now we understand what Christ said, what Buddha said, what the mystic said. And now we can understand how bright the human body is, how brilliant it is, and it's always been there, but we never understood. We're looking at science to make us understand. We're looking at all other aspects to make us understand life. But yet it is the life force, it's the life-giving, and we are the creators, and we're basically, how could we have such a brilliant organism, the physical organism, that's working millions of functions inside just to be alive and not have that kind of intelligence, right? So now it makes sense that the mechanism was always inside us. And they showed us how to create, this is the creative state, this is the resting state, hand in hand, right? So like light and darkness, and day and night. So you've got all the states within, but you have full control of all of these states when you're in the restful exhale. So we will experiment with this for the next week. Definitely at night when you go to sleep. Just go into it. It becomes so addictive that you may notice you don't want to speak too much or engage too much, which is fine because you're fine-tuning your senses too. You're changing the quality. You're going to change the quality of the mind. And I don't know if you notice that there was a kindness after a while or softness in your body and being. That softness, that kindness is what the Buddha talked about as compassion. Compassion is not just love. It is just that restfulness. And that state of oneness. So what did he do when he experienced it within himself? He shared it. He shared it, right? So here we are, nothing outside of us, just back to ourselves, and we're going to see what happens when we focus on the exhale. How do we manifest our being in our world by focusing on the exhale? We've all tried the inhale. Now we will try the exhale. So anything else that we need to? How was your experience?
I really get what you said, that you don't think it's important. I get that part.
Yes.
However, for me it's very hard to get out of it. Like I just feel like I need to curl up and go to sleep. Which in lately, I don't know why, just really tumultuous.
Yes, tumultuous.
Yeah, inside, and I feel like I'm walking around like a zombie. I don't want to wake up. I like that state to be in, but I'm not getting anything done. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just somehow it's all exploding like you opened a can of worms.
Yeah.
It's weird. So I think I've got part of it down, but
yes,
I'm not sure how going back to life.
Yes.
That part.
Actually, just if you got part of it down, then use the part that you got. Just use that rather than finding answers for everything. Just notice this and see what the comeback is.
But you still have to function in life, don't you?
You will.
She's having a hard time coming out of the state.
I'm having a real hard time to back life. Like
yes.
I can't deal with things in
okay.
life now.
Yeah.
All,
yeah.
You know, it's weird. And
yeah. It is overwhelming. And you're probably a very sensitive soul. So you're probably very sensitive. So you're feeling a lot of the outside burden in you too. So your personal plus everything else. A lot of souls actually are feeling that and getting overwhelmed. So it could be a bit of that collective consciousness that's... So just try the exhale. Let's do this. And let's see what next week brings for us. See what happens. Are you sleeping better? The more you sleep better, the less tired you'll be. And the more rested you are during the day, the more alert you will be. Yeah. So let's try this. Yeah, it is. It's just brilliant. And you can almost you giggle and oh, wow, yeah, we've been waiting for this and it's so simple. When you tell people it's simple, they want difficult, they want complex, because they feel they want to achieve something and it has to be worth it if you work hard at it. But when it comes to enlightenment, there is no effort. It actually moves us farther away. Yeah.
But you see, it's so much much in our society, no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, so keep going.
Yes.
You have to
That way.
work hard.
Yes.
Nothing can come.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not.
Yes, we can certainly create workshops and charge a lot of money just for this knowledge to
Yeah.
introduce this, because there's nothing to learn. It's just do more, and you will do more when you in a restful state. But yeah, we can create a lot of propaganda if we want, if we're into that sort of marketing and that sort of business, spiritual business. We could make it a business and even create workshops just on exhale. And then write more books on it. And books are sometimes good because people do understand what do you mean. You have to still explain, right? But I think it's simpler than, we don't have that kind of time now. We don't have that kind of focus. So because the speed, time, and space has changed, it's affected everything. So everything is in shortcuts. We do it fast, we do it quickly, and we're done. Yeah. So that is the norm now. Yeah. Short sleeps, short, everything is just small amounts. If you eat small amounts, it's better for the body. It's, everything is just in short, simple, short. So let us try this. We'll be back next week and experiment and do more. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Namaste out there. Greetings for joining in. And as you have benefited from this knowledge, please do share. Please do share your comments, your feedback. It's really important. And also with your friends, because we can make our society, our community enlightened as we enlighten ourselves. Let's keep sharing.